Hi everyone, and welcome back to our channel, or welcome to our channel if you're new. For today's video, we'll be showing you how to make curried soya chunks. Now, this is a video that's going to be continuing from the last video that we uploaded, where we showed you how to make dal puri. And in this video, we're showing you how to make the curry that we served with it. So basically, soya chunks is a form of protein that can be used in alternative to meat. So for the purposes of this recipe, you can use this recipe with meat if you choose to, but for the purposes of this video, we'll be using it with soya chunks. So if you'd like to see how to make this, then please keep on watching. Alright, so the first ingredient you're going to need is, of course, your soya. So we use 2 packs of soya, which is 400 grams worth of soya. You can cut this recipe in half if you'd like to, but this is the amount that we decided to go with. Also, this is the brand of soya chunks that we use for this recipe. You can use any brand that you could find at your local grocery store. Next, you'll need half a cup of curry powder. This is the brand that we use. We use the Chief brand, and the curry powder that we're using is the duck and goat flavor. We'll also need 1/3 of a cup of vegetable oil. You'll then need 1/4 of a cup of garam masala, followed by 3 leaves of basil and 2 leaves of thyme that are chopped finely. Next, you'll need half a cup of green onions. And then 1 cup of an onion diced up. And that will be followed by 1 teaspoon of achar masala, 1 teaspoon of ground cumin seeds, 1.5 teaspoons of salt, but you can add salt to taste, 6 peppers. You can choose what kind of peppers you want, or if you want peppers at all. 2 teaspoons of tomato paste, 6 cloves of grated garlic, and 1 teaspoon of grated ginger. And lastly, you'll need 4.5 cups of water. So now we're going to take our soya chunks and add them straight into those 4.5 cups of water. And you're going to notice when you take your soya chunks out of the packaging, if you haven't used them before, that they're very hard and almost like rock. And the reason why they are like this is because they're kind of like a sponge. So when a sponge dries up, it tends to get very hard. And for example, the reason why we're putting it into the water is for it to absorb the water and become very spongy and nice to be able to soak up all the flavors. So we're going to let this soak for about 15 to 20 minutes, and then we're going to come back and start making our curry seasoning. So now we're going to start putting our curry paste together. So first you're going to add in that curry powder from earlier. You'll also be adding in the garam masala. And then you're also going to add in your onions. You're going to add in your green onions. And then you're also going to add in the thyme and basil from before. You're then going to put in everything else, so your peppers, your ginger, your ground cumin seeds, the salt, the cloves of garlic that are grated up, your achar masala, and the tomato paste. And then you're going to add 1/4 cup of water once again, and this is just going to help you form that paste for your soya chunks. So you're just going to stir all of this up and make it into a nice paste. Also, you don't have to mash up the peppers if you don't want to. Mashing up the peppers will make it a lot hotter. So it's entirely up to you whether or not you want this to be extremely spicy or just like a mild flavor. So now we'll be adding in our 1/3 of a cup of vegetable oil. And then you're going to wait for it to heat up, and we're just checking it here to see if the oil is hot enough. And then you're going to put in your curry paste. Now you're not going to put in your soya chunks straight away because we want the curry paste to cook and mix the flavors into one another before we put in the soya chunks. So what you're going to do now is you're going to mix this up and make sure all of it is submerged into one another with the oil and etc. And then you're going to let this fry up for about 5 to 7 minutes and let the onions and stuff caramelize, and then we'll come back and check on it. So it's been 5 minutes, and this is what the curry paste looks like right now. As you can see, the onions are more caramelized, and the curry paste has really become an actual paste. So it's a lot more stuck together, and everything is really mixed into one another. So now we're going to put in our soya chunks. So you're just going to dump them right in, and then you're going to stir them right up and make sure that all of the flavors are mixed into one another, just so that when they're ready to cook by themselves, they're all going to soak up in each one of the soya chunks. And now we're going to let this cook and cover it with a lid for 3 to 5 minutes. Now it's been 5 minutes, and as you can see, the chunks now have a nice color to it, but you can also see that there's going to be a little bit of residual water at the bottom, and this is the water from the soaking that we did earlier with the chunks. So you want this water to dry down before you add any water to make your curry. And the amount of residual water that you see can help you determine how much longer you need to let this cook on its own and fry down. So for example, if it has a lot more water, you're going to want to let this sit for a lot longer, or if it has less, you just probably need it for a couple minutes more. So right now for us, we're going to let this fry for about 2 minutes until the water completely dissolves, and then we'll be right back to add some more water to it. So now we let it sit for 2 minutes, and we noticed that there's still a lot more water in ours, but if you take one of the pieces of the chunks, you can check right now to see that it's a lot more softer. Like, we can push a fork into it and it actually goes through. So that's what you want, and that's how you know that it's at the halfway point, because before it was cooked, it was a lot harder. Even after you soak them, they're still quite hard, so you know that they're cooking. So we're just going to add a little bit more time onto this. We're gonna wait just about a couple minutes more, and then we're going to add our water. Checking back in, the chunks have started to stick to the bottom, and that's how you know that you now need to add your water. So we're adding 4 cups of water, and that's just for 400 grams of soya. If you have 200 grams, it's probably 2 cups of water. You'll have to average it and eyeball it as you go. So we're just adding that straight in, and then you're going to make sure that all of it is coated in the water, just so that they all start to soak up that water and all of the curry flavor. And next we're going to cover this again for another 20 to 30 minutes, and then we'll come back to see the final result. And after 20 to 30 minutes, this is what your soya chunks should look like. It's very nice and moist, and you'll also notice that the water that we put in from 20 to 30 minutes ago is now turned into a nice paste almost. So the gravy becomes very thick, and that's exactly what you're looking for your soya chunks. So now that we have our soya chunks made, there are a number of things that you can serve with this. You can serve it with roti, you can serve it with rice. For the purposes of this recipe, we're serving it with dal puri from our previous video. So if you haven't already seen that video, go and check it out. The link will be in the description below. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like on this video. Comment down below what you'd like to see next, or if you've tried out our recipes. Also, don't forget to check out our social media pages where you'll get updates on our future uploads. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more videos every week, and don't forget to turn on post notifications to be notified whenever we upload. I hope you guys have a fantastic week, and thanks for watching!